Have you ever found yourself imprisoned by your own thoughts? Those relentless voices that whisper you're inadequate, that peace is impossible, that you're destined for failure. You're not alone in this struggle. For over 2 millennia, Buddhist masters have understood the nature of the human mind and developed profound methods to liberate us from mental suffering. What I'm about to share with you isn't just ancient philosophy. These are time-tested practices that have freed countless individuals from the tyranny of negative thinking. In the next few moments, you'll discover why your thoughts have such power over you, and more importantly, how to reclaim your mental freedom. The illusion of thought reality. One of the most profound and revolutionary insights that Buddhism offers is the understanding that your thoughts are not the truth. This realization is one of the most liberating and transformative revelations that can free the mind from unnecessary suffering. Thoughts are not permanent, unchangeable truths about who you are or about the world around you. Instead, they are simply fleeting mental formations, like waves on the vast ocean of consciousness, constantly arising and dissolving. Just like waves that rise, crash, and disappear back into the sea, thoughts come into being and eventually fade away. When you catch yourself thinking things like, "I'm worthless," or "nothing ever goes right for me," it's vital to remember that these thoughts are not objective truths. They do not define you, nor do they offer an accurate depiction of reality. They are mental events, temporary in nature, arising from a particular moment in time, a mood, or a situation. They are impermanent and insubstantial, like the mist that appears early in the morning only to dissipate as the sun rises and warms the air. Thoughts, by their very nature, do not last. They are not the reality of who you are. They are fleeting expressions of the mind. To more fully grasp this, let's take a step back and examine how you experience physical sensations. For example, imagine you're standing near a flame, and you feel the intense heat emanating from it. The heat is undeniable. It's something you can feel. It might be even painful, but you don't become the heat. The heat doesn't define you as a person. You experience it, you feel it, but you remain separate from it. You are still distinct from the sensation itself. The same principle applies to thoughts. When negative thoughts arise, thoughts of self-doubt, anger, fear, or anxiety, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that these thoughts define you. However, just because you experience a thought doesn't mean you are that thought. You are simply the observer of the thought. You are the one who notices it arising, moving through your mind and eventually fading away. This distinction between the thinker and the thought is not just a subtle difference, it is the very foundation of mental freedom. This understanding provides the key to liberation from the tyranny of the mind. When you begin to realize that you are not your thoughts, that you are not the anxious thought worrying about what will happen tomorrow, or the critical voice that judges your appearance or your behavior, you unlock a profound sense of inner peace. You are not the negative thought telling you that you will fail. You are not the critical thought that tells you that you are unworthy. You are the awareness that is aware of these thoughts. You are the witness, the silent observer behind all mental activity, whether it's joy or sadness, peace or fear, calm or anxiety. This understanding frees you from the grip of your thoughts. Instead of being identified with them, you begin to see them as they truly are, impermanent mental events that come and go. In the space between each thought, you start to recognize your true nature, the awareness that is always present, unaffected by the passing storm of thoughts. Imagine for a moment that your thoughts are like the clouds in the sky. Just as the sky remains unchanged regardless of whether the clouds are light and fluffy or dark and stormy, your true self remains untouched by whatever thoughts may pass through your mind. The thoughts are the clouds, and the sky is your awareness. The clouds might block the sunlight for a time, but they never have the power to change the sky itself. Similarly, thoughts might obscure your awareness for a time, but they do not change who you really are. You are the vast open space in which all thoughts arise and dissolve. As you begin to experience the impermanence of thoughts, you will notice a sense of mental freedom emerging. You no longer feel trapped by the relentless flow of negative, self-judging thoughts. The thought, "I am not enough," is no longer something you identify with, because you know that it's just a passing cloud in the sky of your consciousness. That thought is not who you are. It is simply a momentary mental event, and like all things, it will pass. This realization brings with it the awareness that you do not have to be at the mercy of your thoughts. Thoughts do not control you unless you allow them to. By learning to recognize the impermanence of all thoughts, you begin to let go of the need to cling to them, to define yourself by them, or to identify with them. You start to see that thoughts are like visitors to your mind. They may come and go, but they do not need to stay. You are the host, and you get to choose which thoughts to welcome into your awareness and which ones to let go of. When you separate yourself from the thoughts you experience, you break free from the mental patterns that may have kept you locked in cycles of stress, fear, self-doubt, and anxiety. You start to see that these patterns are just automatic mental responses, not inherent truths about you or your life. They are patterns of thinking, often rooted in old conditioning or emotional wounds, but they do not define your essence. The real you is not the anxious thought that worries about the future, or the thought that tells you that you are unworthy. The real you is the awareness that is simply observing those thoughts without getting entangled in them. You begin to disidentify from your thoughts, and in doing so, you experience a profound sense of inner peace. When you realize that your thoughts are not who you are, you experience a radical shift in how you engage with the world. You stop identifying with the fleeting, changing nature of your thoughts. You are no longer bound by the judgments of your mind. Instead, you are rooted in the awareness that watches over all thoughts without judgment. You realize that you are the vast space in which all experiences, good and bad, arise, and this space is infinite, calm, and boundless. In this realization lies true freedom. You are no longer enslaved to your thoughts or their judgments. You no longer feel the need to act upon every thought that arises. You can simply observe, let go, and allow the thoughts to pass away. By doing so, you uncover your true essence, the awareness that is always present, always at peace, always untouched by the fluctuations of the mind. You are the open sky of awareness. Your thoughts are just clouds passing by. And in recognizing this, you experience freedom from the tyranny of the mind. This is the profound liberation that Buddhism speaks of, the freedom from identifying with your thoughts and the recognition that your true nature is the vast, ever-present awareness that observes them. If this message resonates with you, and you're seeking more moments of peace and insight, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for daily reflections rooted in ancient wisdom and modern clarity. The practice of mental spaciousness. Buddhism teaches us to cultivate a powerful quality of mind known as mental spaciousness, the ability to give our thoughts room to exist without becoming overwhelmed by them. In a world where we are often bombarded by an endless stream of thoughts, emotions, and distractions, this practice can offer profound relief and freedom. The concept is simple yet profound. To create a space within your mind that is large enough to allow your thoughts to come and go without attaching yourself to them, without getting caught up in them. Imagine your mind as a vast, limitless sky. In this sky, clouds may appear. Some clouds are dark and stormy, filled with anxiety, fear, or anger, while others are light and pleasant, bringing thoughts of joy, peace, or creativity. However, the sky itself remains unchanged and limitless, no matter what type of clouds pass through it. Even the darkest storm clouds, though they may cover the sky for a time, do not define the sky. They move, shift, and eventually dissolve, leaving the sky clear once again. The sky is vast, open, and unaffected by the clouds that come and go. Your thoughts, too, are like these clouds. When negative thoughts arise, such as feelings of inadequacy, fear, worry, or judgment, they appear in the sky of your awareness. They may linger for a moment. They may seem persistent or intense, but they are at their core no more permanent than clouds in the sky. These negative thoughts can seem overwhelming or all-consuming, but just like clouds, they are temporary and ever-changing. They are not the sky itself. They are simply passing phenomena, temporarily taking up space in the vast openness of your awareness. The key to mental spaciousness is to understand that the mind does not need to fight or resist these thoughts. The sky doesn't struggle with the clouds. It doesn't try to push them away or hide them. The sky simply provides space for them to exist, knowing that they will pass. The same is true for your thoughts. You don't need to control or push away the negative thoughts you experience. Instead, you simply allow them to be. You create an inner spaciousness that lets these thoughts pass freely, knowing that, like clouds, they will eventually dissolve on their own. To begin practicing mental spaciousness, try this simple exercise. Notice the thought. When a negative thought arises in your mind, instead of diving into the content of the thought or getting tangled up in it, simply acknowledge its presence. Recognize that this is just a thought, nothing more, nothing less. Remind yourself that it does not define you. Shift your attention to the space around the thought. Rather than engaging with the thought itself, gently direct your awareness to the space around the thought. Imagine this space as an open, vast sky that can hold any thought, any emotion, without judgment or resistance. Sense the awareness within you. As you focus on the space around the thought, begin to sense the awareness that is observing it. What does this awareness feel like? It is not identified with the thought, but is simply witnessing it arise and fade. This awareness is calm, stable, and unchanged, just like the sky. Feel the spaciousness. As you stay present with the awareness that is observing the thought, notice how the feeling of spaciousness expands. It is as if the mind becomes less crowded, less overwhelmed by the thought, and more expansive. The thought, though it may still be present, no longer holds power over you. You are no longer the thought, but the vast space of awareness in which the thought is arising. This practice can help you recognize that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness in which they arise, and that awareness is boundless. You do not have to engage with every thought that comes to mind. You can simply allow the thoughts to be, acknowledging them without getting lost in them. Over time, as you practice this technique, you may begin to notice that thoughts lose their grip on you. Negative thoughts, once overwhelming and consuming, begin to lose their power when you no longer identify with them. Instead of being trapped in the stormy clouds of your thoughts, you become the vast, open sky that holds them gently without attachment or judgment. The more you practice, the more you will find that your mind becomes a place of peace and clarity. Mental spaciousness is not about eliminating thoughts, but about creating a healthy distance from them. You are not trying to erase or suppress the thoughts, but instead you are learning to give them space. By doing so, you create an environment in your mind that is open, calm, and receptive to whatever arises, without becoming overwhelmed by it. This spaciousness of mind also cultivates emotional freedom. When you give your thoughts room to be, you allow yourself the freedom to experience emotions without becoming swept away by them. Just as the sky holds the clouds without judgment, you can allow your emotions to arise, be felt, and dissolve without letting them define you. The practice of mental spaciousness helps you develop the ability to observe your emotional experiences with equanimity rather than being controlled by them. Deepening the practice, as you deepen your practice of mental spaciousness, you may find that the space within you expands even further. Not only will you be able to hold negative thoughts without becoming attached to them, but you may also find that you can allow positive thoughts to come and go with the same ease. Mental spaciousness is not about becoming detached or disconnected from your thoughts and emotions. It is about observing them with clarity, knowing that they are transient, and recognizing your true nature as the awareness that remains undisturbed by them. In moments of intense emotional turmoil, you can return to this practice. By focusing on the space around the thought, you can give yourself the space to respond to situations with mindfulness, rather than reacting from a place of stress or automatic patterns. The more you practice mental spaciousness, the more you will find that your mind becomes more peaceful, and your reactions to challenging situations become more thoughtful and deliberate. By cultivating mental spaciousness, you ultimately allow your true nature, calm, stable, and boundless awareness to shine through. You create a mental environment where clarity, peace, and wisdom can naturally arise, and you free yourself from the constant turbulence of identifying with the ever-changing weather of your thoughts. The wisdom of impermanence. One of Buddhism's most liberating insights is the principle of impermanence. Everything changes, including our mental states. That overwhelming anxiety you felt yesterday, where is it now? The devastating sadness that consumed you last week, has it remained exactly the same? When we're caught in negative thinking, it feels eternal and unchangeable, but this is an illusion created by our identification with the thoughts. In reality, no mental state is permanent. Even the most persistent negative thought patterns shift and transform over time. Understanding impermanence doesn't mean we should just wait for negative thoughts to pass, though sometimes that's exactly what's needed. It means recognizing that our current mental state is not a life sentence. Change is the one constant in mental experience. Practical tools for mental freedom. Buddhism offers several profound and practical techniques for skillfully working with negative thoughts. These techniques are designed not to eliminate negative thoughts, but to help you work with them in a way that brings awareness, clarity, and freedom. Over time, these tools can empower you to shift your relationship with your thoughts, transforming how you respond to them rather than simply reacting. Below are some of the most powerful practices. The practice of noting. Creating distance from thoughts. One of the most effective ways to manage negative thoughts is through the practice of noting. When a negative thought arises, instead of becoming fully immersed in it or identifying with it, simply note or label its category. For instance, if a thought arises about a past event that you regret, you might silently say to yourself, remembering. If you find yourself consumed by worries about the future, you could label it worrying. Similarly, if you're engaged in self-criticism or judgment, you might note it as judging. This gentle act of labeling creates an important distance between you and the thought. It allows you to observe the thought as a passing mental event, rather than something you need to act on or identify with. Instead of being absorbed into the drama of the thought, you step back and see it for what it is, just a temporary occurrence in the mind. This practice helps prevent the thought from spiraling out of control, leading to a greater sense of mental freedom and clarity. You realize that you are not the thought, you are the awareness observing it. The question of usefulness. Is the thought serving me? Another powerful tool for managing negative thoughts is the question of usefulness. When a negative thought arises, ask yourself, is this thought serving me right now? Is it helping me respond wisely to my current situation? This question helps you gain perspective on whether the thought has any practical value in the present moment. Many negative thoughts are based on past events or future possibilities, scenarios that are not happening right now. These thoughts may involve regret about things that have already happened or fear about things that might never occur. When you recognize that many of these thoughts are rehearsing scenarios that hold no real relevance or practical benefit in the present moment, it becomes easier to let them go. Asking yourself about the usefulness of a thought helps you shift from automatic, habitual thinking to mindful awareness. By recognizing that a thought may be based on something that doesn't serve your current situation, you free yourself from being controlled by it. This simple questioning technique allows you to release unhelpful thoughts, replacing them with thoughts that are more grounded in the present and helpful to your well-being. The body-mind connection. Relaxing the body to calm the mind. Often, when negative thoughts arise, they are accompanied by physical tension in the body. Negative thinking can manifest in the body as muscle tightness, shallow breathing, or a general sense of discomfort. When your thoughts are filled with stress or anxiety, they create a feedback loop, where the mind influences the body and the body in turn influences the mind. By becoming aware of how negative thoughts affect your body, you can use the body as a tool to help calm the mind. For example, if you notice that your shoulders are tense or that you're holding your breath, this awareness is a key signal that negative thoughts may be taking a toll on you. In these moments, try to relax the body consciously. Take a few deep breaths and allow your shoulders to soften. Let go of any tension in your jaw or face. When you relax your body, the mind often follows suit. A simple but effective technique is to take 3 deep, slow breaths, inhaling deeply through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. As you do this, consciously release any physical tension. You may even choose to scan your body from head to toe, noticing any areas of tightness, and gently relaxing them as you breathe. This practice creates a calming effect that can break the cycle of stress and bring you back to a place of inner peace. The body and mind are deeply interconnected, and by tending to your body's physical state, you can often alleviate the grip of negative thoughts and emotions. Compassionate self-talk, meeting negative thoughts with kindness, one of the most important practices in Buddhism is the cultivation of self-compassion, the ability to treat yourself with kindness, especially in times of struggle. Instead of fighting or resisting negative thoughts with force, try meeting them with gentleness and understanding. This approach is far more effective than attempting to suppress or push away difficult emotions or thoughts. For example, if you notice yourself having thoughts about failure or self-doubt, instead of criticizing yourself further for having these thoughts, try offering yourself some compassionate self-talk. You might say to yourself, "I notice I'm having thoughts about failure right now. This is difficult, and it's okay to feel this way." Many people experience these kinds of thoughts. This simple acknowledgement helps to create a sense of acceptance and understanding toward your experience, rather than shame or frustration. By offering compassion to yourself, you create a gentle space in which your thoughts can be felt and understood. Without being judged or ignored, you recognize that it's okay to have difficult thoughts. They are a part of being human. The key is not to become overwhelmed by them or define yourself by them, but to meet them with kindness and acceptance. This practice of compassionate self-talk can help you cultivate a nurturing relationship with yourself, one that allows negative thoughts to come and go without becoming entrenched in them. Bringing it all together, these 4 practical tools for mental freedom, noting the question of usefulness, the body-mind connection, and compassionate self-talk, are not just theoretical concepts, but tangible practices you can integrate into your daily life. Each technique provides a way to interact with your thoughts that diminishes their power over you. Rather than being swept away by the tide of negative thoughts, you begin to create space between yourself and the thoughts you experience. You learn to acknowledge them, question their usefulness, release physical tension, and meet them with compassion. As you continue to practice these techniques, you will begin to notice that your relationship with your thoughts becomes less reactive and more mindful. You will experience greater mental freedom and emotional resilience, enabling you to navigate life's challenges with more clarity, wisdom, and compassion. The ultimate goal is not to rid yourself of negative thoughts entirely, but to learn to live peacefully alongside them. By cultivating a more mindful and compassionate approach to your thoughts, you can create an inner environment where you are no longer at the mercy of your mental patterns, but are instead the conscious observer of them, able to respond with awareness and understanding, rather than reacting with automatic fear or judgment. Transforming your relationship with thoughts. The ultimate goal isn't to have a mind free from negative thoughts. Such a mind probably doesn't exist. The goal is to transform your relationship with all thoughts so that they no longer have the power to derail your peace and well-being. Think of becoming like a mountain. Weather systems may move across the mountain. Storms, sunshine, snow, rain, but the mountain remains stable and unmoved. Your thoughts are like this weather, constantly changing, while your essential awareness remains like the mountain itself. This doesn't mean becoming emotionally numb or disconnected. Rather, it means developing the capacity to remain centered and responsive rather than reactive, no matter what thoughts arise in your mind. The path forward. Working with negative thoughts is a lifelong practice, not a problem to be solved once and for all. Each time you choose awareness over reactivity, spaciousness over resistance, compassion over self-criticism, you strengthen your capacity for mental freedom. The path isn't about perfection, it's about presence. It's about meeting each moment of your mental experience with curiosity rather than judgment, with acceptance rather than struggle. As you continue this journey, remember that every negative thought is actually an opportunity to practice. Each difficult moment is a chance to remember your true nature as the aware, spacious consciousness that remains untouched by the changing contents of your mind. The freedom Buddha discovered under the Bodhi tree isn't reserved for ancient sages or meditation masters. It's your birthright as a conscious being. It's available to you right now, in this moment, beneath whatever thoughts happen to be arising. In your awareness, you are not your thoughts. You are the vast, peaceful awareness in which they appear and disappear. And in recognizing this truth, you discover a freedom that no negative thought can ever take away.